You at 9:30 a.m. here, broadcasting live from my 105-year-old house in my hometown of Klamath Falls, Oregon. I am on Facebook and YouTube for one reason, and that's to teach you how to attain a healthy mind. I am a self-taught psychiatrist, counselor, therapist, and it all comes from my training comes from a psychiatrist. Her name's Susanna McMahon. Okay. She's 73, excuse me, lives in Madrid, Texas, with her husband, has had thousands of clients. She wrote this book called The Portable Therapist 30 years ago, and every lesson in it talks about how we've been trained and taught not to have a healthy mind. There's absolutely only one way that you can get a healthy mind, and that's to attain and maintain self-esteem. As a psychiatrist, Dr. Susanna McMahon has had thousands of clients, and in order to attain and maintain a healthy mind, you have to have self-esteem, self-confidence, self-worth. What self-esteem is how you feel about yourself inside. It's also known as self-confidence, self-worth, self-love. Those are the words for it. As a psychiatrist, she knew that nobody was teaching self-esteem way back when, and she had to come up with a concept to give her clients self-esteem, to get them to give themselves self-esteem, because nobody can give you self-esteem except for you. And here's that very simple concept that she came up with to get her clients to give themselves self-esteem. It's called mirror therapy. You look at yourself in the mirror, you say 4 things. I love you, I love my inner child, I'm worthy to be loved, I'm worthy to be loved. I am full of goodness. Those things to yourself in the mirror daily will give you self-esteem on steroids, but to maintain self-esteem, you have to practice it. It's like lifting weights. You start lifting weights, and you stop, you have to start up from scratch. Self-esteem is the exact same thing for the brain. So you have to say those 4 things to yourself in the mirror, instead of criticizing yourself for literally the rest of your life. And then you will maintain self-esteem. It'll take you less than 10 seconds. I love Douglas Bickford, I love my inner child, I'm worthy to love, I'm worthy to be loved, I'm full of goodness. And then you will maintain self-esteem. Okay. The reason she came up with mirror therapy and why it's so powerful is a psychological event happens in our brain. We can't not look at ourselves in the mirror and lie to ourselves. So that's why you can very easily criticize yourself in the mirror, especially when we get older. We all do it, right? Because that's how you feel about yourself. You can't lie to yourself in the mirror by saying 4 good things to yourself in the mirror. And those 4 things to yourself in the mirror are very good things to say to yourself every day. But since you can't lie to yourself in the mirror, you can't do it. So, the very first time you do it, folks, you'll have to force yourself to do it. And then you will be able to attain a healthy mind. And that's how I can help you. Okay. The thing about having no self-esteem, number 1, you can't have a healthy mind without it. And number 2, you can't be content without it. What content means is you feel good about how, where, and what you are. It's also known as internal peace. There are 11 things that people are using to try to be content. They are Facebook, all the social media, including YouTube. Drugs, alcohol, sex, gambling, food, television, religion, another person, material possessions, or money. Those 11 things are outside of yourself. They're known as externals. They will make you happy temporarily, but it never lasts. Okay. The absolute only thing that's going to give you eternal peace, content permanently, is to attain and maintain self-esteem, and that is the 4 things to yourself in the mirror daily for the rest of your life. Okay. The third reason it's so vital that you have attain and maintain self-esteem. You can't love without it, and you can't be loved. Okay. So what happens is you'll attract somebody just like yourself that doesn't have self-esteem. So whether you marry him, don't marry him, after the good feeling goes away, the relationship becomes toxic. That's when the fights and arguments start, cheating on each other, drug and alcohol use, going to bars, picking up strange people to have sex with, all the stuff that goes on in a toxic relationship, the yelling and calling each other names. Then because the relationship became toxic, you'll divorce or separate. Excuse me. And then the exact same, the relationship becomes toxic, then you will divorce or separate because it became toxic. And then the same 2 people will go and they'll jump right back in another relationship without self-esteem, and the exact same thing will happen. That's why you've been married more than once. That's why I've been married 4 times. Okay? Why I've had many failed relationships, and why you've had many failed relationships. And so then the next thing that'll happen is the 2 people that got involved in no self-esteem, they'll just stay together forever, even though they both know the relationship's toxic. Okay? And the fights and arguments are going on, but they'll stay in it. And the reason people stay in those relationships is because you don't want to be a failure, you're codependent on each other, you're afraid to leave, you can't be alone, you don't want to be embarrassment to all your family and friends and your church members, so you'll stay in it. And then all the emotional, sexual, and physical abuse that happened between those 2 just gets swept under the rug by all the children and all the grandchildren. And then it becomes a dysfunctional family at that point, and the dysfunctional families create more dysfunctional families down the line. And then the cycle continues. And the very last thing that'll happen is the 2 people that have been in many failed relationships forever, or marriages and just different relationships, they'll just exit out of the romantic scene and say screw it and just be alone the rest of their lives. And they'll use the 11 things to try to be content. Okay? And you can't be content without self-esteem. So they'll be miserable just like they were in the relationship. So I have the cure from Douglas Allen Bickford, a self-taught psychiatrist. Okay, and it works. If all parties involved in all those different relationships would say 4 things to themselves in the mirror daily without fail, get this book, Portable Therapist, do the many more concepts that will give you a healthy mind. And it'll fix all your unhealthy mind, and you'll be able to get out of a toxic relationship if you're in one. It'll fix a toxic relationship if all parties involved do this very simple concept of mirror therapy and went through the book together. And a person all alone out there can get internal peace and be content by attaining and maintaining self-esteem. Okay. And also going through the book. So I am going through this book 1 lesson at a time, and here's that next lesson that will help you. Lesson 64. Why can't I fall in love with the right person? Often in our relationships with others, we mirror what is going on in our relationships with ourselves. If we are not secure with ourselves, we will fall in love with those who do not love us. If we do not believe that we are worthy of being loved, we will not be attracted to those who do love us. Just like I said, we are attracted to what we think we deserve. If we think we deserve to be punished, even at the unconscious level, we will find someone who is destructive to us. Whatever we really feel about ourselves, we will tend to be reflected by our relationships. If we feel positive and good about ourselves, we will have relationships with people who feel good about themselves and about us. If we are negative, our relationships will reflect the negativity. We do indeed reap what we sow. That's why I've been married 4 times and divorced 4 times. And why you've been married and divorced more than once, okay? And had many failed relationships. So, you've got to get honest with yourself, folks. To attain, once you attain and maintain self-esteem, you'll be able to get healthy-minded and be able to get honest with yourself. So that's why attaining and maintaining self-esteem is so vital to your healthy mind. And then you'll be able to find the right person. Looking for the right person is a case in futility. There is no one right person except for you with yourself. Statistically, there are thousands of people that you're compatible with. The secret to finding them is to be compatible with yourself. Then and only then will healthy others appear. Stop having expectations about what the other person will look like and do for you. Instead, focus on what you look like, what you are, and what you will do for yourself. Stop looking. Enjoy your own company. Practice being okay without a relationship. It is never easier to learn self-esteem and practice it than when you are alone. If you're used to taking care of yourself, to filling your own needs, then the challenge of being in a relationship will not be overwhelming. If you cannot take care of yourself when you're alone, it will be much more difficult to learn to take care of yourself when you are involved with someone else. Most of us become aware of learning about self-esteem after we are in a relationship. While it is less complicated to practice self-esteem on our own, we do not have to leave the relationship in order to learn to take care of ourselves. But we do have to reprioritize what we'll do for ourselves and what we'll give up for the relationship. Taking care of ourselves can be a positive thing in our relationships. We become good role models for others. Loving yourself does not mean that everyone else will love you. Once you love yourself, it becomes easier to accept that others do not love you, just as you yourself do not love everyone you know. Others have the same right with you. Do not waste your time and energy on those who do not care about you. There are enough people around who do care about you to focus on. And if you feel that there is no one else who loves you, then you owe it to yourself to care more about yourself, for yourself. This stuff has happened to me. Okay. And I can't be around discouraging others anymore. I won't, even my own children. Relationships are about balance, not about rights and obligations. Relationships are about challenge and stimulation, not about comfort. Relationships are about expansion and growth, not about standing still or staying put. Rather, they are about allowing each other to change and letting go. The best relationships are those in which both people let each other be. We can love ourselves unconditionally, and we can practice trying to love our partner unconditionally. We may never achieve this goal, but we can learn from our efforts. If you want unconditional adoration, then get a puppy. Your partner is not in the business of always adoring you. There is no one right partner for you, but there are plenty of good people around to have healthy relationships with. But first, you must be healthy yourself so that you are ready for a good relationship with another. Wow, that's powerful stuff. And you can all attain and maintain self-esteem so you can take care of yourself before you get in a relationship. Or you can fix the relationship you're in. If that other person, your partner, doesn't want change and the abuse and everything, the name-calling still going on, it'll give you the strength and the courage to leave that relationship. I left my fourth marriage. I was devastated. I had no idea this book even existed. I was very unhealthy-minded. Now I'm totally healthy-minded because of her and her wisdom out of this book. And now, that's why I am a self-taught psychiatrist, counselor, therapist, and I can help you. Call me anytime. Once you start going through your change, when you start saying those four things to yourself in the mirror, 458-232-5238. I can help you and encourage you along the way. I'll have another lesson for you tomorrow, which is Lesson 65, Why Can't I Change My Partner? You all have a great Saturday out there, and I'll be talking to you tomorrow.